It's Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today we have a lot to cover in a short amount of time, so we'll be right back right after this. Nothing in the show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today, we have a ton to go over and not too much time to do it. So, again, we have so much. Just to remind you, if you are new here, remember you can go over to marfooglenews.com to not only sign up for our email alerts, but you can also sign up for our notifications. If you're not getting them from any other of the platforms, then make sure to get ours. And then also, if you have watched before, you would know we do a full bibliography of every single article, tweet, video, picture, document that we show you here today will be available over on marfooglenews.com. That way you know exactly where the source is from. Once you click on no longer mutually assured destruction, of course, referencing that, or is it, you will see that you will have every single link at your fingertips. That way you have, of course, all of the sources, and you can go back retrospectively, or you can sit there and take your time and read all of the articles all the way through. And then on top of that, there is Overflow. That Overflow section has a ton of great stuff that we couldn't either fit in the show or that's too hot for TV. So make sure to go down there and check that out. Now, also, want to remind you, there are several days left of the off-grid contest. You could win a $380 Faraday bag that can protect your devices, such as a laptop, of course, your key fobs and your cell phones and everything else. Again, that is still there, so make sure to go and enter. There's 6 ways to enter, and you can enter it daily. No purchase necessary. All right, let's get started. Let's bring in my co/internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
So I just want to, first off, if we do cover some things that are scary, I want to just let you guys know that there is a lot of hope out there. And I know that we talk about some stuff that is pretty down sometimes, but I just want to let you guys know we need to be the force. And by we, I mean not only Dex and I, but our mods, and then, of course, the chat. We need to be positive, and we need to, essentially, if there's something that is going to plague us, then we need to come up with the solution. You guys are all part of this. We have done this. We couldn't have done it without you. And again, you are part of this. This is, I did not come up with the Foogle family or the Marfia or any of that. The audience did. The people that are in our groups and our chats and everything else, they are a whole kind of working organism by themselves. So a lot of you guys are absolutely amazing. A lot of people have found lifelong friends through this channel, which is just absolutely blows my mind every time I think of it. And all of this started pretty miraculously. So I just want to point out that we are going to be positive here. Make sure to be polite to each other and push each other up. There's no room for drama here. I want people to be able to come in and have a fun time. Spirals of blue light in New Zealand night sky leave stargazers kind of freaking out. So, Dex, you know what's even crazier? Did you see the email I forwarded you? I don't know if you saw that. I sent you.
No, I did not. I saw your email, but I didn't see the original with attachments.
Oh my goodness. Oh, so you don't have the actual photos?
No, I do not.
Okay, we may make a video all by itself, and this picture completely reminds me of what this gentleman saw, only I think what they saw was even crazier than this. It looked like something going through a portal. No joke. When you see it, you're going to trip. Again, we will. I emailed that person back, and I ended up emailing Dex as well, so we could try to get him on the show or have him call in. Absolutely nuts photos. I was blown away, and it looks like kind of like this with the white light. Only the white light is going through like what I can only explain as looks like almost like a smoke O or something, but it's in the sky and gigantic, and multiple pictures, multiple angles. So be excited. That's going to be coming up. At the very least, we'll show you the pictures from that. But it says a spiral of blue lights as seen from Stewart Island, Rakura, New Zealand on Sunday. Theories on social media about its origin ranged from aliens to foreign rockets to commercial displays. Now, very well could be rockets, and one really crappy part is right now Xi and other countries are, of course, test launching things. Where it doesn't seem like it would be a SpaceX type thing. But who knows? At this point, they're doing so much secret stuff above our heads that nobody really will know, right? It said that the NZ stargazers were left puzzled and awed by a strange spiraling light formations in the night sky on Sunday night. Around 7:25 p.m., as Alasdair Burns, a stargazing guide on Stewart Island, Rakura, received a text from a friend. Says, go outside and look at the sky. As soon as we actually went outside, it was very obvious what it was he was referring to, Burns said. He saw a huge blue spiral of light amid the darkness. It looked like an enormous spiral galaxy just hanging there in the sky and slowly drifting across. Quite an eerie feeling. So another thing is, I always think of, they say that if some sort of supernova happens, or if it's anywhere close to us, or if our sun, of course, supernova, we would all be gone in a matter of no time, right? But I always wonder, like, if something like that happened and everybody walked outside and one day we just see something like this, only it's coming towards us and it's going to end us. This, on the other hand, ended up fading away, but a lot of people ended up seeing it. It says, all the worst things you can think of, Christchurch residents stricken by the city's stench, which apparently, it says, Burns snapped a few images of the lights on long exposure, capturing the spiral from his phone. We quickly banged on the doors of all of our neighbors to get them out as well, and so there were about 5 of us all out on our shared veranda, looking up and kind of just freaking out a bit. If you honestly saw this, would you be freaking out? Especially if you're nowhere near a SpaceX launch or something else. This is a trip. And I have a feeling that we're going to see a whole lot more stuff like this, especially with how they are saying that now space is now weaponized. Now, this could very well be a rocket. It could be something from another country. It could be something like that. But at the same time, we've started seeing these a few years back, and most of these are explained off as a Trident missile or a nuke or a ballistic missile or a SpaceX rocket. So we don't know what this is.
But the professor, later in the article, a professor came out and said it lines up with a Global Star launch from SpaceX. It was a low Earth orbit coming off of Cape Canaveral, and the way it would go around and the way it would have been positioned, the timing would have been correct for the light up there, the visible light from the sun that would have been high above the sky that you wouldn't see, that it would actually show that. So that's what they're claiming it is, a Global Star launch, which happened Sunday. Okay. Which the timing was right too.
Okay, but here's one of the problems now. Anything like this, they can say, oh, it was a star, it was a Starlink thing, or it was a SpaceX. I just wonder if any of these, and of course there's always the question if any of these have actually not been SpaceX and they use that as a quick cover. You have to at least think, hypothetically, if that was the case, because think about what they're talking about in Congress right now. Congress and the Senate is talking about how they believe we may be in danger because these UFOs are flying over our nuclear weapons and over our nuclear plants. I mean, it's just weird. I mean, who would have thought like 15 years ago that they would be having congressional meetings about UFOs? Well, some of you may have said, oh, it's long overdue. But some of you may be like, this is pretty crazy that we're even living through this. And then some of you may be saying, well, that's because they're trying to distract us from everything else. What do you think? Tell me in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. And thank you, Kitty from Beyond the Grave. Oh, that's very, that's timeful. And then Rick, Joseph Newhouse, what is going on? Hey, I made a video, Just Do This. Black Eyed Peas, Don't You Worry, with symbolism in the music video. Army Vet, thank you for subscribing. And then Trisha Ann, thank you for being one of the last ones out last show. I appreciate you guys. And then Bible Talk 777, I believe you were on that last one as well. It says the leaders were probably asked if they would follow orders if asked to off citizens when SHTF happened, which is coming soon. By the way, that was referencing how 12 military leaders have basically just all been replaced. And these are long-term military leaders that have been with service for a long time. We're talking about high-ranking officials all replaced in a matter of 3 months. Very strange. We're covering all of it. There's weird every day, and we're here to follow it. And then NASA, terrified Elon Musk's SpaceX rocket will explode and destroy the only route to the ISS. Dex, what's the deal with this?
Well, just considering the fact that they have a specific place they like to launch from, a specific trajectory they like to take to the ISS. What they're saying is if along that route there is some sort of damage, whether it even be the pad that they use or further up, then it could leave a lot of debris in the path. If it's suspended at the right height, that it could actually then make it difficult for them to go back, to the ISS, and with another rocket and replenish it with people or fuel or food or whatever. So they're not saying that there's an imminent issue, but I think this is sort of a little bit of shade thrown at Elon, just because he's probably getting a lot right now. But it's also, maybe what they're doing is painting a picture of something that may be coming, or maybe creating an excuse for something that may happen, and an explanation they'll have for no longer using or having a route to the ISS. I don't know.
Well, we don't know which it is, but it says NASA are worried that Elon Musk's SpaceX rocket will explode in its launch pad, the only route connecting the agency's rockets with the ISS. Well, one thing I wonder is okay, well then why are you letting them do it then, if that's your only one, right? Launch Complex 39A at the Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral, Florida, is the only facility capable of connecting U.S. astronauts with the floating space HQ. Well, maybe previous presidents shouldn't have cut the programs. And then Colorado River water crisis. Now worst in modern history. Urgent, needs to act now. Now, if you have the debate going whether this is something that is a natural cycle, or it's man-made, or it's man-directed, whatever is happening right now is epic. And this is the one thing that people do. There's not a lot of debate whether it's actually happening, if you guys know what I mean. There's a lot of people, a lot of just subjects in general where they go, oh, photoshopped, or that's not happening. Because there's so many people living in these areas, they can all attest to it. And most people have family that are living in these areas, and firsthand, they're experiencing this. They're experiencing the floods, the droughts, the extreme storms, these crazy events. A good chunk of people believe that something is off, like something is going on that they're not exactly telling us. But as far as these serious droughts, look at the world we are headed into, and that's why it's even more important that we stay positive. We really have to. You have to take kind of I guess you have to kind of take your own life into your own hands, and you are the only one that's going to be in charge of how you look at these things and your perspective out on these things. If you can keep positive and stay, in kind of a positive mind state, you could see the positive in everything. First of all, there's a lot of negative going on, so we have to really work together to push each other up and get each other through all of these coming hard times. And there's coming hard times. We are possibly heading into hyperinflation, and I'm not saying that. There are several folks that are extremely powerful that are saying that. And then, of course, we have followed every little sign of this stuff happening. As far as the weather, this only adds more to it. It says, with the Colorado River's depleted reservoirs continuing to drop to new lows, the federal government has taken the unprecedented step of telling the 7 western states that rely on the river to find ways to drastically cutting the amount of water they take in the next 2 months. I just want to point out, they're telling 7 western states. That's how big this area is and how it's being affected. It says the Interior Department is seeking the emergency cuts to reduce the risks of Lake Mead and Lake Powell, the country's 2 largest reservoirs, declining to dangerously low levels next year. So just imagine by next year, it's at the point where people won't have water, or the year after that, they just won't have water. And look at where that lines up. It is 2022. We are headed now, we're 2 years away from 2024, where all of these crazy predictions, including predictions done 500 years ago and predictions done by experts like Deagle, and it makes you wonder if something started accelerating, that something is happening that's not natural. So again, it says we have urgent needs to act now. Tanya Trujillo, the Interior Department's Assistant Secretary for Water and Science, said during a speech on Thursday. It says we need to be taking action in all states, in all sectors, and in all available ways. So this is like a call to arms. This is like, we need to do something now. Now, whether you think that that's what really needs to happen or not, this is what they're telling the public, and it's pretty freaky to look at some of the stuff that's going on. Meanwhile, places like Yellowstone actually had such a bad flood that it rearranged 2 rivers. Rivers actually are running in 2 different directions, or not directions, but they flooded so high when they drained, they are actually now redirected. This is the world changing its paths. If you think about that, it's pretty crazy. We don't control, or we can't, as humans. If you're living there, especially, you can't control any of it. So pretty crazy stuff. Dex, do you think that this is heading into a worse kind of scenario where next year we're talking about extremely bad things, or what do you think?
Well, yeah, these things are compounding. Like, for example, the snowpack in Colorado this winter wasn't enough to recover from the drought they had last year. So when there's not enough to make up for the loss, and then you turn around and it melts faster because of temperature changes, then you end up A, not having enough water, and B, it's going away faster than they expected, as opposed to getting the traditional trickle that happens over the season, right? So there's a lot of these things, and when they happen and they compound year over year, it's kind of reminiscent of like the Dust Bowl back in the day, right? The farmers, year over year, they didn't realize it until one day all of a sudden you had a Dust Bowl because they were farming incorrectly and didn't treat the soil properly, right? And it just compounded over the years. So if as we see these things compound year over year, I can only imagine if we think it's bad this year, yet next year will probably be even worse.
Well, and the year before, in 2021, I covered some of the craziest world events, including, as I've said, 118-degree day here. We had snow in Mexico, snow in L.A., at the bottom of mainland Hawaii. All these crazy events. The year before that, we had hail up to people's waist in Mexico. We had all sorts of crazy things, and it just keeps getting crazy. Oh, and then Paradise. We had California, Australia. You had Greece. If you remember this, all of these events are happening all around the world, and it's not slowing up. It's speeding up. So I guess, how can many people agree on a general kind of explanation for this? Or is everybody stuck on different kind of paths for this? Joseph Newhouse, thank you again. I appreciate that. Stephen McMahon, I appreciate that. God bless all in this house. And then Laura Shepard, thank you, Adam, Dex, and Mods. We appreciate you. Thank you again, Laura. Thank you for being here, and thank you for sticking around for a long time. Really appreciate you guys. All right. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your side on this. And if you want to pop it into chat right now, I'd love to hear what you're saying. In fact, I'll turn the chat on here in a second. And Supreme Court rushes to end a term like no other. Because of a blockbuster docket, an unprecedented leak, a fraught political atmosphere, and the CV, the cough, everything has changed at the Supreme Court. Under normal circumstances, on decision days at the end of June, the Supreme Court emerges from behind crimson curtains to finally issue the most controversial cases of the term after months of closed-door deliberations. Wearing their judicial robe and exhausted from the final push of work, the justices take their seats and the majority opinion is read by its author. The hand down can take several minutes as the audience, spouses, staff, spectators, and journalists digest what's being read aloud. Oftentimes, the justice who penned the principal dissent also chooses to address the audience, offering a fiery oral critique of the majority opinion. Instead, the courtroom's majestic chamber is dark, ostensibly due to the lingering CV, and the plaza has been completely walled off by security fences, a move prompted by protests that erupted last month after a draft opinion overturning, of course, Roe v. Wade was leaked to the media. So here's one thing that I think about is now everything is being done behind closed door between the cough and, of course, what happened there, this being leaked on purpose to the media. All of a sudden, maybe, RVW right there, that is one big thing that everybody is going to be divided about. But what other things are they doing in these closed-door meetings which really are not talked about? Everybody's talking about this one. If the left hand is doing this, what is the right hand doing? Is there anything else we should be paying attention to? Well, most likely, most often when the government does meetings in closed-door environments, it's not always good for the people. So there's a lot of stuff there. Dex, do you think they're doing something else on top of this?
Well, yeah, there's plenty more coming out. There's just one thing that was leaked, but there's also a 2A issue that's going to be ruled upon. There's a homeschooling, or not homeschooling, sorry, alternative schooling. I think it's for people in rural areas if they can't get certain type of schooling, that they use money to go use a private school, et cetera. There's a lot of other big decisions that are coming out, right? They're all stacked in. So this is kind of a big deal. In addition to the one that's been leaked that everybody's upset about, but also all of these other ones are pretty hot as well. Maybe not as hot as that first one, but definitely hot topics. So, this is going to be an interesting release when it comes out. It's due by the end of the month, typically. They could have done it earlier. They postponed it and they set it up to postpone it. So we'll have to see if they do come out at the end of the month. I think they actually have to. So we'll see if this stuff comes out and it gets ruled upon. Maybe they could hold it off if they wanted to, but I don't know the actual legal parts of that, but everybody seems to be expecting it to happen.
Kim O'Donnell says all of this is manipulation as far as the hot and the cold and the freezing and the hail and the rain. Again, I'm not surprised by anything anymore. And if you think about how much has been accomplished in the last 3 years through all of these disasters happening, of course it makes an average person wonder.
And Adam, real quick, I'm sorry, I meant to say this for everybody. If you don't pay attention to this kind of stuff, what's happening at the Supreme Court, maybe this is a topic you don't care about. You do want to pay attention for the fact of when this does happen, the stadium, so to speak, or the fuel has sort of been thrown out and the match just hasn't been lit yet. It's about to be. And when it happens, I think we're going to see a lot of what we saw 2 summers ago, right? And we're going to see a lot of that turmoil in lots of different cities. So just pay attention, be aware of your surroundings, know what's going on as it relates to this, because when this does happen, you're going to more than likely see a lot of nonsense in the public forum, and that kind of stuff is not a crowd you necessarily want to be in the middle of.
You're going to know it. Essentially, you're going to know it when all this stuff goes down, because it definitely going to be a game changer, as they say. As far as on top of that, it did add about Brett Kavanaugh. Meanwhile, a federal grand jury has returned an indictment charging a California man with attempting to off Justice Brett. So that, considering how he got in and all of that surrounding that, and then with all of this going on, there are many potentials for something to go off. So I would really take Dex's opinion there and just know your area, know where you're at, know your surroundings. Go back to our videos about what to do if you're caught in a crazy scenario, like a bang scenario. Always know your exits, know where you are, know what you can use to block, because you never know what is going on. And I say this, some people, why are you worried about that stuff? We have audience from all over the world, so there's a small chance that somebody in the audience right now, or somebody that's watching the replay, will take that to heart, and somebody will know the exits, and something starts popping off, whether it's a Fantastic Freddy or not, and they'll pop right out that nearest exit door because they were eyeing it from the time they walked in the grocery store or whatever it may be. But again, there's lots of crazy events happening, and they're all mysteriously happening again. It's crazy to me that this stuff stops and nothing happens for the longest time. And then all of the political mumbo jumbo turns up, and it's almost like a cycle. It's like now all of it's happening again. The cars up on sidewalks, the people, the grocery stores, the manifestos, the crazy stuff. All right, and then before we talk about sweltering streets, hundreds of homeless perish in extreme heat, I do want to remind you guys, so there is a big sale going on, the Energy solar generators. The reason why we are telling you this is one of the best made solar generators out there. I know that Flex 1500, again, is actually running my entire studio, both my power bars and all my lights, and 4 panels. But what's cool about this is it's a generator that can power pretty much anything you can think of, but also it is silent. There's no noise from it. There's no noxious fumes. There is no $6 a gallon gas that goes in it. And of course, you can have it inside your home. This is really an amazing thing. This is one of the highest quality and most coveted out there. We didn't pick one of these ones that are just complete crap and come with a month supply of food and have one plug-in. This thing is one of the best out there. And there's a reason why it doesn't carry a small price tag. This is an actual solution for a problem. So if you've ever wanted to have a backup power source, I would highly recommend going and looking at this. Now, a lot of people were kind of set off by the fact that for the last 3 months, there was a ship date. They were waiting on parts, that some of the parts for these generators are made all over the world. Solar is different than the regular gas generators. So there's parts in these lithium batteries that are made in other parts of the world. That ship date is only a few weeks out now. So now people can actually order and expect it within a reasonable amount of time. So I would highly recommend getting over there. Well, 1, that time frame is smaller. And then 2, well, there's still upwards of $170 off on certain kits. This is something that is absolutely silent way to power, again, pretty much any need that you have. You can extend it up to 96 batteries. You're not stuck with a built-in battery that once it goes or once it's outdated or anything else, you have to buy a whole new unit. This, you can just continue to buy batteries and batteries and batteries, or if the top part is outdated, you can buy a new top part and use the batteries. So it is really, really amazing. I mean, think about all the things you could use power for. But again, it's absolutely, we take it for granted. And also they make a EMP shield that can protect this. So if you are a prepper, you can actually get a solar energy generator and then actually equip an in and an out EMP shield. It's sold as a kit. that completely protects it. Go to marfugglenews.com/energy. Every single time you purchase, not only are you getting $170 off, you're getting something you can keep and that will possibly either save your life, make it more convenient, or get you through a rolling blackout or a storm or an earthquake. But you are also helping your favorite channel. Make sure to use the code Marfoogle to get the savings. All right, thank you guys, and I appreciate it in advance for anybody that does end up going and getting these. They are not... They're pricey because they are the best. You're not buying Harbor Freight stuff. You're getting the best. All right, and then let's move on. So, as many of you guys know, we have homeless in the Fugel fam. We have lots. I have personal friends in the Fugel fam right now that are living in their cars, that are living on the streets, living in doorways, and this really hits hard because personally, we ended up losing one of our cousins. Our cousins has been on and off kind of the recovery path for the last few years, and he actually perished in the heat about a week and a half ago. So we are still getting details from it. He was homeless. He didn't ever connect with any of our family. So we're just still trying to figure out what the heck happened. But it looks like it was from heat stroke. There's a lot of people dying from this, and this is something that is really sad because it is preventable. And even if you are homeless, there's probably things that they could have done, but there's still not enough. I guess there's not enough information. If people had information, or if people had, more access to water, how do you stop something like this? What's crazy is the heat is so out of control in places that sometimes you really can't. Some of these people are drinking tons of water and still getting heat stroke. It says that hundreds of blue, green, and gray tents are pitched under the sun's searing rays in downtown Phoenix, a jumble of flimsy canvas and plastic along dusty sidewalks. Here in the hottest big city in America, thousands of homeless people swelter as the summer's triple-digit temperatures arrive. The stifling tent city has ballooned in amid era evictions and surging rents that have dumped hundreds more people onto the sizzling streets that grow eerily quiet when temperatures peak in the mid-afternoon. A heat wave earlier this month brought temperatures of 114 degrees. Highs reached 118, which was, again, we had 118 here. I know what that's like. It was, and probably our 118 wasn't the same as their 118 because we had, I don't know, maybe we had higher humidity or lower humidity. But I couldn't imagine Arizona gets super hot. Also, they have all those people. I actually watched a YouTube channel, and I believe it was Talk of the Streets or Tales from the Street. There's a channel, and specifically, I believe they're based out of Phoenix, and they're in Arizona. They go through Mesa. They go through all these Arizona places, and fentanyl has hit that place so hard and so quick in the last 4 years that the homeless community has just exploded. Same with Seattle. Same with California. Same with Los Angeles, San Diego, Portland. Portland, look, like they said, is like an open air drug market now. Dex, this is pretty sad because also this is a lot of regular people that may have gone through the hard times of everything that happened. Who knows? They may have been forced not to work through CV. Things backed up on them. Then all of a sudden they're homeless, and they're not actually educated on even how to be homeless. There's a lot of brand new homeless that don't really know how to live on the streets and wouldn't be able to prepare for this kind of stuff. If you've been living on the streets for 20 years in Phoenix, you probably know what to do during this. But somebody who just got out on the street last year, possibly not.
Well, yeah, that's a difficult thing to transition into. I could only imagine because I've never been in that position. But at the same time, I think there's a lot of things that we can do to help one another. And some people you just can't help, especially when they're in the throes of addiction. It's really hard to help people that don't want to help themselves. But, there are other people there are certainly people that are not in that position that can use your help. So if you see the opportunity, I'm not saying open up your door and let strangers in, but at the same time, if there's things you can do, whether it's water or other things, this is going to be a time when it's going to be more important than ever for us to try to lift one another up and us try to help other people as we see them in need, because I think the needs are going to keep growing. They're not going to get any easier. It's going to get a lot more difficult.
If you are in Phoenix, Arizona, or Mesa, or any of these hard hit areas, if you feel like doing a good deed, you could always bring 24 packs of cold water down there. You could go and do community service down there and bring them water. If you are very close to this tent city, which I know there's Foogle fam living around this area, if you have a chance, drop off some water. Water may save a life, and that's crazy. If you drop off a 24 pack of water, it might actually save a life. And think about that. It's some of the Costco packages, like 24 or 36 for like $7 or $8, could honestly save some lives. So if you do, let me know. In fact, let us know and tweet me if you end up going down and helping. I know that not all of the people are going to be the most grateful, but I bet you there's going to be a whole lot that would. And then AI's hold over humans is starting to get stronger. So Dex, we've talked about this over the last week. Obviously, the owner of this platform, the big scary one, the Alphabet community there, just had a very big story come out. And essentially a designer said that one of their chatbots, AI, has most likely come sentient. It has emotions. It wants rights as a person. In fact, the reason why the guy that's suspended, this guy who's been doing algorithms for 9 years, the reason why he says he shouldn't get in trouble is because when he asked this AI how it should be addressed, the AI said, well, I want to be treated like any other employee at Alphabet. And that's why he's saying it was just a conversation with another employee of Alphabet. So this is pretty crazy as far as now there's a lot of opinion pieces, there's a lot of op-eds, but there's a lot of questions. Why is there not more oversight on this? This is really scary, and the majority of people are not going to understand until it either replaces their job or punches them in the face. And I mean literal. We'll talk about it here in a little bit, but they're making Terminators essentially. And then, of course, Elon Musk is making AI bots. And then they're making chatbots that may actually be alive. So, Dex, what do you think about this?
Yeah, so I think the thing that struck me about this article specifically, and it's not just this one, it's every one that seems to have come out ever since Blake came out and made that announcement about it being sentient, is everyone is trying, and I say everyone in the community around AI and around any type of artificial intelligence in the written community is coming out and saying, oh, no, that can't be true. And so again, this is yet another article covering, the conversation around AI. But the first thing in here is all about Blake and all about, to be clear, current AI systems are decades away from being able to experience feelings, and in fact, may never do so. That's a pretty strong statement, right? So it's like everyone's trying to just completely debunk this guy.
Decades.
And I'm not saying he's right, and I'm not saying he's wrong, but it's
no,
weird when he comes out and says one thing, and then immediately you see just article after article of these, experts saying, oh, he's wrong.
What are they talking? Okay, so do you believe them when they say that it's 2040 until we have AI that's sentient? Have you seen what AI is doing already? Are you kidding me? Do you see what is happening with do you see the advance in supercomputers from last year to this year? Have you seen the advance in quantum computers from last year to this year? We've covered it here, so you probably heard about some of the crazy things that have gone on. For them to say, to be clear, current artificial intelligence systems are decades away from being able to experience feelings, and in fact may never do so. How are they even saying this? This is BS. Like this looks like a push it under the rug and one of the biggest companies in the world trying to back off everybody. By the way, I want to point out something that I noticed, which was pretty funny. There was a certain documentary that came out from Shapiro, and it was called "What Is a Woman?" It's a question that is really, really sensitive right now. But I want to point out there's an actual ad that's running on the platform, and it's Ben talking about this documentary that came out, and there was such a huge fanfare from it that this documentary came out, and on the release day, somebody didn't want it out, and magically they were DDoS'd. They had a DDoS attack, and they said over 1 million unique signatures were bouncing stuff off them. And I just keep thinking, oh yeah, that million number. Well, what country has 1 million on the payroll that can do anything on the computer? These are 1 million actual people, and their whole job is, if Xi says, hey, I want you to say this online, and I want you to, sprinkle some falsehoods on there, then I want you to do that. 1 million people will rush over to Twitter and say whatever they want. Or they could all go to a website at the same time. You're talking about a country with over 1 million on a payroll, and their entire job is to do the bidding digitally on the web. And and it makes me think of all the stuff that's going on right now. Keeps leading back to what almost seems obvious. It's like we are collapsing from the inside out. Now people can't even answer simple questions. But
you mentioned that supercomputer, Adam, and it was June 1st when we reported it, and it's on our website. We talked about it. It was the Frontier exascale system, and it was the Department of Energy researchers that put this together. Okay, now just keep in mind, now this is not just some computer that's really cool and fast. This is actually a full scale system that is running by our government. Okay, and it's labeled designated as the fastest computing system in the world. Now, we're not talking about, the stuff that all the scientists are working on with the quantum computing, which exists but doesn't really exist in practicality. This is a practical system. Okay, so just imagine the fastest computer system in the world. It's our U.S. government that has it. It's something that you could literally process every person in the world, or every person in America for sure, but every person in the world, all of their information, all of their data, everything about them, every video, every image, index it all instantaneously, right? I mean, we're talking some serious horsepower here in a system like that. So, and they have it. We have it. I say we, but I don't mean we as in the government, as in like we, the people, get to use it. It's our big government has it. And that's what we don't know what they're doing with it, but we know they need that horsepower for something, right?
And it's all going much faster. So for them to say, to be clear, and you see it in all of these articles, and they all say the same kind of narrative, like, it's like Snopes or something. Like Snopes is saying, that's decades away. Where is the decades from? It's like in the kids movie Madagascar, like, 69 months. 69 months? No, 6 to 9 months. Where do you get these numbers? Where do they get the numbers? Where are they saying even a decade? Where are they even saying 5 years? How do they even make a guess of when it could happen? Somebody could create it tomorrow. Somebody already did, it looks like, and they're trying to shove under the rug. Virginia Prepper says, keep up spreading the news the mainstream media doesn't want you to report on. You and Dex mods are awesome. Hey, thanks for shouting out the mods. The mods are, again, a big part of this, and the audience and everybody here, I thank you guys for sticking with us and pushing everybody up. Rains days, a nuclear fake moon heats enough states. Thanks, Winnie. Well, so I think I know what you mean there. I also think about the Xi and how he has made an artificial sun, which is more of like a factory thing. It's not something out there. But they're also making an artificial moon, a satellite that would light their streets up. Crazy stuff. So we'll talk about that probably in the next couple of weeks. I heard there's some new stuff coming out about that. And then Virginia Prepper, I'm going to do a video tomorrow reading the article about the ammo ban on Winchester making 223.556. Oh, there's all sorts of stuff. You have stuff to cover for days. If you are strictly and directly Prepper, Virginia Prepper, man, there's so much stuff to cover right now. And if you want to bounce off of us, and if we present a problem that we don't have time to do a solution, I highly encourage you you fill that gap. Hey, Marvin, Dex 2A thing you mentioned was about restricting 223 and 556 being made by Winchester. It's not only the civilian, it's for military also. I read the article. People are going to panic and buy ammo worse than before. So Virginia Prepper, just so you know, there's actual articles right now that you can use for your show about Washington. Our state is going nuts. Our state is doing specific things as well, and they have never seen sales like they have just this month. People are going out and going crazy, and people are buying up everything they can, especially the clips and those things, because the price is going to be jacked up. Bill Sachs, thank you for your massive support. Always try to write something there. So again, if you ever do a super chat, try to write something so I can get to know you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you for supporting independent. And then Laguna Berry, American Truth. It is manipulations. 1940, they began manipulating under the gov, funding weather. So Laguna Berry, there's also a agreement that they had about not using earthquakes and different things like this. You probably know. We've covered on this show, and we should do a show again and talk about that, because it's been a while since we've talked about how much they can actually do. Not even mentioning stuff like HAARP, and I'm not talking about senior citizens. Okay, and then Survival Game. I was wondering if your newborn kitten made it. Much love. Thank you for all you do for your community. Thank you, and Dex, you're the best. Lola Cafe, thank you. Blessings to everyone. No, the kitten, I'll just be honest with you. It is still in our freezer. We are going to our family property to bury it, and we were going to do it yesterday, Sunday, but we did not. And no, I did post a community post, Ilea. So if you go to the community post, you'll see the box. My daughter made a rest in peace kitten box, and it was really sad. It was my first experience dealing with death with my daughter, and something she could directly, she was there for. It was really, really, it was, I guess it was a lot of things, but she asked to kiss it. She wasn't afraid of it, which I thought was great. And because it was still, it was still there. I mean, we thought we could turn it upside down. I tried blowing in its nose. I tried turning it upside down and rocking it to try to get the stuff out, but it came out breech, and I think it was wrapped up, and I think it was either stillborn or it was gone from the beginning. But yeah, and it is bad for a cat to have a kitten that fast after having a kitten. She had the other kitten, which is still a kitten, and then got pregnant during that heat cycle. So she had a kitten and then got pregnant again. So we were lucky that the mom didn't die. So yeah, anyways, it was unfortunate, but it was a learning experience for my daughter, and I'm hoping that I'm hoping that my daughter is learning something from it. And again, she wasn't afraid of it, which I was surprised by. Again, Laura Shepard, thank you so much. And Rainey's Days, that's how you say it, Rainey's Days. Interesting way to spell it. And then G claims to have intercepted ballistic missiles in flight. So, Dex, what did I say when I first heard this? I was thinking wait, what? Is this something new? Did they not have this? But apparently this is pretty big.
Well, yeah, it's definitely big in the sense that, again, showing their capability, their advancement in military technology, and that, they can, obviously go after someone like Taiwan that said, hey, we can send a ballistic missile to Beijing, right? And I think that's what Taiwan specifically said, was they could actually reach Beijing. So, statements like that come out on the offensive side from Taiwan are very new. And now we've got, of course, China, G saying that they've gone in and they've actually tested and done an interception in air. So that is a big step for them, major milestone for that type of defense on their part.
Well, and the whole thought of the mutually assured destruction is, if one launched, then the other would launch. If they launched 10, we would launch 20. They would launch 30. Everybody would be wiped out. and nobody wanted that. Now it has gotten to the point, and nobody knows what is actually true in this, because we don't know what country is actually saber rattling and actually has the technology and actually doesn't. The U.S. has done quite a few public tests, and quite a few of them have failed as far as intercepting ballistic missiles in the sky. They were having really hard time. And then, of course, Vlad came out with hypersonics and said that they publicly were the first ones to say they had them. As far as U.S. probably already had them, but it wasn't public. It was probably top secret. I don't know. Or the public believes that the U.S. was behind Vlad in this. If it is true, just hypothetically, Vlad had hypersonics before anybody else. That's scary that other countries are coming up with this kind of technology before the U.S. But who knows? Everybody has always thought the U.S. is like 30 years, beyond where we actually know. So as far as them coming up with the system, and now Xi has some sort of hypersonic system. Now Xi has a system to be able to knock stuff out of the sky. We have our own Pentagon saying that Xi is ahead of us in AI, which they have said that AI and developments in AI would be absolutely gigantic for predicting and for catching and for destroying ballistic missiles. Ballistic missiles is, of course, this backbone of fear that has kept the world peaceful, or at least they say. So this is a giant deal if they have truly done this and come up with a system that is good at it, let alone any better than any other system out there. I don't know if they have a perfect system, and I think that's why MAD mattered so much. Mutually assured destruction was, we won't be able to stop them, but we'll be able to launch them. But if somebody can hit us before we can even launch, or if somebody can disable our systems or in any way, which I'm sure we've got tons of great systems that would probably be able to launch no matter what. Even if there was an EMP, the missiles would launch. They would probably launch themselves. They're guaranteed protected. So I mean, but if they can hit us, and then they can knock ours out of the sky, that's not mutually assured destruction. That's a scary scenario. So it's all speculation, though. It's not something that we should even be afraid of, because if you do get hit by a nuke, you're gone before you even know it. I guess the worst case scenario is if you were outside the range and you got radiation or something. But that would be worst case scenario. What they're talking about and all the threats that have been going around, it doesn't look like any of us would need to worry. We would just be out like that. And honestly, all of us perish someday. People that are afraid, if it really comes down to it, of dying. And honestly, at this point, if you are over 20 and then you're starting to get it, 30, 40, you're starting to understand that the life is finite, and we're blessed with every single day that we're here, every single day that you wake up. We're not guaranteed 70, 80, 90 years. So with this is not good. It says the Chinese military successfully intercepted a ballistic missile in flight, Xi's Ministry of Defense claimed in a late Sunday statement. Again, not a lot of people are going to believe it. But at the same time, a lot of people still believe that they are backwards, that anything they make is just going to break apart or fall apart because it's made crappy. That's not true anymore, especially with their military technology and their high-tech weaponry. The reason we know this is because a lot of the weaponry companies were shipping stuff over there to do it for cheaper. So they gave other countries that were ahead, including the U.S., just got in trouble for this, sending high-tech space equipment, rocket equipment, this kind of stuff over to Xi's country to make it. So what does that do? That gives their country, every single part of their land is under their control, under the CCP, and that means they gave them the blueprints, they gave them everything so they could build it over there for cheaper. It's like, come on, what are they doing? And in most cases, I believe they only let them build a part, but not all, and they tried to divide it out. But the point is, they can make extremely high quality, extremely high tech weaponry there. And I don't know how this happened. I don't know how Xi is now doing more trade with the world than the U.S. And Xi has control of ports all over the world, including in California and including in Australia. It's just absolutely mind-boggling. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Am I wrong? Am I right? Tell me. I would love to hear your opinion down there and, of course, in the chat. Texas Rob 49, thank you for gifting out badges over on DLive. I really thank you. For a second there, it wasn't updating, so thank you so much. And then let's see here. We've got Darren Dillinger. What is going on? Welcome, and thank you for subscribing. As always, if you subscribe during the show, you will get a shout-out. And I appreciate it. Over 5,000, it looks like, have popped in the chat. All right, and then... Mr. Bucks, thank you for subscribing. Irish Rebel, thank you. Irish, the world is heading into the 9th plane of hell very rapidly. Everyone should keep stocking as much as possible. As far as if we're headed into hell or in some people, I guess it's perspective. Maybe we're closer to heaven. And then Fluffy, love you all at the Foogle fam and everyone who contributes. Love you all. Fluffy, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Hopefully you're having a fluffy day. And then Ilea or Survival Game. I'm so sorry. I know how you feel. We lost a litter of 8 bunnies. That's what my wife said. She said that your bunnies just kept dying over a couple days, that you lost all of them. My daughter was devastated. You're a great father, Adam. Thank you. Much love. Love you, Ilea. Thank you so much. Yeah, it was. I didn't experience that before, having to tell a child how it's, and she was, we were holding it and she wanted to hold it. Like, that was just, but I have, a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old. So I'm going to go down the line, and it's like with pets, especially, that's a hard one. I learned with a hamster, Houdini, when it passed away, we did our first yard burial, and I made a big deal out of it, made a cross, and we did prayers and held hands around the hamster. Thinking about it now, it's kind of funny, but if back then it was a big deal. It was my first funeral. Telegram is not a secure platform, or apparently NATO-backed strategic comms chief warrants. Now, Dex, aren't you're a proponent of Telegram, correct?
Well, I use it because there's not many secure options out there. Signal's another one that's also good and available. But look, here's the thing. The thing about Telegram is it's originally was built by some Vlad citizens. Let's call them that. I don't want to say it's the country. So it's got its backings there. But when they built their security, they also built their security in a private way, as opposed to being open source, where something like Signal, to contrast it, uses open source to show how it's secure. So when people find holes in it, they just continue to develop it and make it better. Whereas with Telegram, because it's closed source, you can only trust as much as you can trust, and it's up to them to make sure they keep it secure. Now, we don't know if this is Ganda or if this is truth, because the reason why it's sort of playing out and coming from a NATO-backed strategic comms is because this platform, the Telegram platform, is used heavily around the globe, but more specifically around the whole UKR event, and especially from the opposite side of the West, to push information out, right? And a lot of people are using conversations there, creating rooms, creating channels, and they're doing it and obviously assuming there's some levels of security around that. So this coming out from NATO saying, hey, that we've cracked it, or it's been cracked and we can break the security on it, that's kind of a big statement. But at the same time, it can fall into that realm of the information flow and the Ganda flow going back and forth from the East and the West around the conflict, right?
Well, who does he work for? Who
exactly.
Who does he work for? He works for NATO. And it's just my guess, but the same government that has been caught not once, not twice, I think now 3 times, listening and reading every single text message, every single call, listening to everything, listening to your TV, listening to your smart devices. And I'm not talking about Xi, talking about the U.S. says, hey, it's bad. You don't want to use this encrypted software. You don't want to use this encrypted Telegram because we won't be able to read what you're saying. I don't know. That's just one angle to look at it. But they say, again, you could take it with a grain of salt. You can take it literal. You can take it and flush it. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. And then before we talk about Vlad says that Vladia is building the new order right now. I do want to remind everybody, while you have the chance, make sure to go over and check out EMP Shield. If you don't know what an electromagnetic pulse is, it is a very big threat to the U.S., or at least that is what the EMP Task Force and DHS is saying right now. Whether they're telegraphing it or whether it is as big as they say, again, is something other. But EMP Shield is actually a triple threat for EMP, CME, and lightning. So whether it, again, if we ever have an EMP, this will end up stopping E1, E2, and E3, all three phases, but it will also protect you against CMEs. So the natural kind, the coronal mass ejections, that we will have another Carrington level event. The last Carrington level event, if it happened today, it could have done damage into knocking down our entire grid. Back then, when there was telegraphs, literal telegraph wires caught on fire, and even the telegraph operators' headsets caught on fire. And that equipment was actually about 10 times less sensitive than what we have today. So it would not be good news. Either way, there's a way to protect against it. It's kind of like, if there's a common cold and there's a cure for it, then I would be looking at the cure. But again, go over to marfooglenews.com/EMP. Right now, they have $50 off on per device. So if you have multiple cars that you want to protect, you will get $50 off per device. And, of course, they have a device for your home. They have a different one for your generators. They have a different one for your solar systems. They even have a solar energy generator EMP specifically made for it, for the in and out, so it can protect your generator. That way, if an EMP hits us from NK or from G or from Vlad or anywhere, your stuff will continue to run. Anything that you want to keep running after an EMP, lightning strike, or a solar flare, then you would want to put one of these on it. Go over to marfooglenews.com/EMP to get the discount and help our channel at the same time. That every single time you go over and purchase, for sending you their way, they're giving you a discount, an awesome product, and they're helping us grow and reinforce the growth of our channel. So thank you guys for supporting independent and going through us. But if not, there's plenty of other places you can find same thing and support somebody else. If again, either way, you should support your local community and somebody around you or somebody you like. So if you like our channel, the support is definitely appreciated. It's 100% American made, and it's a veteran-owned business. Andrew and EMP Shield is a great company. These guys are absolutely awesome. Ask any Foogle family member that's already dealt with them. All right, and that's marfooglenews.com/EMP. Vlad says Vladia is building the new world order right now. Dex, do you want to cover this real quick? This is I'll let you go into it.
Well, anytime you hear this phrase, right, whether it's coming from one of the Bushes or even the current administration or other leaders around the world, everyone sort of tunes in like, oh, what is this order you're talking about? So for him to use this phrase, I guess, and I'm assuming it's in translation too, right? But for that to come out, it's sort of a big deal, and people want to know what he's talking about and what he's looking at. But in his mind and what he believes he's doing with that being against the West, so to speak, and against what the West is doing to the rest of the world, is his position of why he's saying he's trying to bring about a different order of operations, so to speak, a new version of that. So yeah, that's what's going on. When he says things, especially big nuggets like this, people latch on and want to know, ooh, that's interesting, right?
Well, just to put a part of this, it says Vlad is accusing has accused Western leaders of clinging to, quote, the shadows of the past as he creates this new, of course, order with the invasion of UKR. It says the world will not be as it was before the, quote, special operation, Vlad said in his speech at the plenary session of the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum. It says, quote, it is also erroneous to believe that one can sit and wait when the time of turbulent changes goes by, when everything goes back to where it was. It won't. So you can always say, hey, he's saber-rattling. Have you noticed how crazy these threats have become? And not only just the threats, but how they talk about the future. The world will not be as it was before, quote, the special operation. And then double down on it. When everything goes back to where it was, it won't, saying it's not going to go back to normal. And it says, according to him, the changes are fundamental, crucial, and inexorable. However, he said that the Western countries cling to shadows of the past. So there's lots of, I guarantee you, there's lots of meaning when he speaks. They do. I don't know if it's somebody writing these for him, but they speak and they talk. He does a lot of symbolism. He does a lot of, analogies when he speaks about their country. And I don't know if it's because of the translation or what. It says, for example, they believe that the dominance of the West in global knowledge and economy is a constant and eternal value. Nothing lasts forever. You think he's just BSing? I guess the prepper standpoint on this is, hey, maybe we should prepare just in case something goes down. And we can be positive and, we can try to do what we can. And I think partly the prepper kind of standpoint on this is, let's try to have some extra stuff. Let's be reasonable and let's be responsible. Grab extra stuff while you can and be ready if something does come our way. I think that it's, you have insurance on everything else. You should have insurance on your food and your body and your family. Yeah, that's pretty big. And then mini Terminator robots are pitched into UKR's bloody wars against Vladian troops. So it says that, quote, mini Terminator robots are being pitched into UKR's bloody battles against Vlad troops. It says the armed war machines fitted with a 7.62 assault machine gun and running on wheels is already believed to be on the front line. To be honest, I wouldn't have been surprised if this happened like 5 years ago. Think about it. They could have put an RC car with a bang bang on it, and I think they already had that. They've had that for SWAT teams, haven't they? Or maybe that's bean bags and rubber bullets or something. But, you would have thought they could have done something like that on wheels years and years and years ago. Have they? If you're in the military and you had something like this years and years ago, what is different from these new ones, though? Apparently, they even have arms. They can grab. They can open doors. All of this has happened over the last couple of days or a couple of years. As far as the dogs can be outfitted with these arms that can open doors, go through tiny crevices, basically compact to a small little square and go through small holes with wheels on the bottom, and then get back up, use their arm to open a door, and then have some sort of 7.62 on their back, bang, 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 and take out threats. All meanwhile running, cameras and sensors and thermal vision and all that running at the same time. Shoot, you think this is going to be the front lines? This is going to be New York here in about a year. You think I'm exaggerating? There's already these bots in simple ways being used by police departments, and now, if you see it on the front line this year, next year, the industrial complex will try to sell them to police. And then it says UKR company Teamerland has prototyped the metallic killer on wheels to be used on scouting missions against Moscow's forces. So, pretty crazy. It is understood the first version of the 110-pound in weight and 2-foot-long drone called Genome or Gnome is controlled by troops who can be hidden hundreds of feet away. See, hundreds of feet. I would think like dozens of miles.
It's not wireless. That's a spool on the back of it. It's got a wire.
How are they not there yet, though? So, wait a second.
So let's start over, because this is built by UKR. So this is not like our technology. This is as good as they can get. And it's on a spool. It's got a wire spool. They started off using it for surveillance. They would either move small pieces of equipment on it, or they would just use the cameras on it. But now they've outfitted it with this, the 762 on it, so that it can do more. But yes, it still has a wire, so they can only, take it out so many hundreds of feet away from where they are, but they can, go around the corner and look at something and fire if they need to.
It's like Acme. Like it literally has a spool with a cord that, like you see in the movie, where the spool and it like a kid's movie, like Home Alone or something. I know we have way more advanced stuff like that. I mean, they would have this be wireless and be miles and miles away. I didn't realize that Timberland was a UKR company. That's wild. Not as wild as ours, but hey, they're getting there. And then Vlad loses 55th Colonel when his attack helicopter is hit by a missile and explodes in a fireball. So he's actually, they say he has lost a bunch of colonels, especially recently. Now, don't you think that this would mean that they're going to be pretty pissed?
Well, with everyone, I'm sure they are. We sort of have to take all of this information with a grain of salt because of where it's coming from and how it gets out, and whether or not it's manipulated or not. So we need to but yes, this kind of stuff is not good PR, so to speak, for Vlad, right? And he's not in the realm of any news is good news. No, he doesn't want bad news.
Well, and think about what he just said previously talking about this. I mean, this is reeling after they just lost another one by an anti-aircraft missile that was most likely given to them by a different country or a NATO. This is like NATO infrastructure here. So they're probably pretty pissed. And then finish these bastards. Vlad's sick execution plan revealed. Dex, I'm gonna switch over a chord right here if you can cover this one.
Yeah, certainly. So foreign fighters who had crossed over into UKR to join the conflict are now facing basically execution. So it's not something that you want. If you get captured, you would rather be maybe held as a prisoner and then traded back when it's over. But apparently, we've seen this. I think we talked about it with the Americans recently. We've covered, I think, 3 now that have been picked up. But British citizens, Aidan Aslan and Sean Pinner, as well as a Moroccan man, were sentenced by a court that is in favor of Vlad. So those sentences that have come down have sort of shown what's going to happen to anyone else that's being captured. So we've got the 3 American, or I don't say we've got them. They captured 3 Americans over there. So it's presumable, and this is what we were talking about last week, that this is what is in store for their fate, right? If this is what they just did, and they haven't actually performed it, but they've sentenced it for the British citizens. So they were the first ones captured. So we'll have to see how this plays out further. But if those Americans are, go down the same path as these Brits do, that's not a good thing for any of them, for the Brits, for anybody in that matter. So again, typically you would think you take people in and you hold them and then you trade them back when it's over.
But it does not look like that will be the case if you're believing this one. And this is from news.com Australia. So, yeah, again, but most of the information all comes back from UKR. The whole world is getting their information from UKR, which, again, before the whole conflict, it was not used as like the top tier journalism there. but there's not really too many sides right now. And then, by the way, Trinity Red or Blue Pill Hi-Ho Kermit the Frog here. Thank you for your support. Thank you for coming tonight, Trinity. Again, tomorrow night is a call-in show, so that is very possible. Says, would love to talk again. I had a video about GP3 with Jordy Rose. Thanks for everyone subscribing. I appreciate each of you. Thank you, Marv, a.k.a. Adam, and sorry about your kitty. Much love to the family and Foogle fam. Thank you, Trinity. Appreciate that. Again, I've been through it several times, but yeah, my daughter, it was more of like that first time kind of thing. Stephen McMahon, I remember our government screwing around with hypersonic missiles in the early 70s. I was born in the 80s, so I don't remember that, but Dex, do you remember them messing with?
Yeah, I remember it with jets. I don't remember it with, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did it with, some form of missile that was a smaller version of a jet. But I know we've done Scram engines and all sorts of crazy engines for the 60s and 70s and 80s, and we probably don't even know what they've been doing for the last 20 years.
Well, they did straight up flying saucers back in the 50s, like those crazy videos of them floating around on looks like what today is a drone, right? And then Fluffy, love you all, the Foogle fam and everyone. Thank you. I appreciate that. Vibron from Australia. Nice to see you from down under. Zenwen AZ from, again, thank you for stopping in from Arizona. And then we've got Virginia Prepper again. UK and T1 are training runs for a possible U.S. invasion. And that's why the B administration wants to arm our military. That's why they sent arms to UKR. Well, I don't know what they've actually sent there as far as small arms, but like I said, after the last 3 years, I wouldn't be surprised by anything. EOD Vet, remember, wireless can be hacked. It can most definitely be jammed. Wired control, while seemingly basic, is also reliable. EOD Vet, that's an extremely great point. If it is wired,
it's susceptible to scissors.
Yeah. I just see like the Roadrunner going meep meep and then cutting off the UKRs. And then Vlad warns it will take actions against NATO member Lithuania after blocking sanctioned goods. It's pretty much every day someone says they'll take action if they don't do this or if they do this. Is Lithuania on the verge of dragging NATO into the UKR conflict? Moscow warns it will take actions after alliance member blocks train carrying goods to Russia's Kaliningrad enclave. It said that Vlad's allies have threatened Lithuania after NATO country blocked EU-sanctioned goods from reaching the Vladian enclave. It says Moscow warned of very tough actions. They don't say sanctions, actions against the country after deliveries of coal, metals, construction materials, and advanced technology were stopped from entering the Vladian territory, fueling fears of an escalation of the UKR. Again, when you take this and you go back to all of the stuff being said over the last 3 weeks, and it's been daily, you start to you should at least wonder how much of this is saber rattling, how much of it is the typical stuff, and how much of it is kind of predictions of what's going to happen or what they think will happen. I think that I think especially here in the U.S., and I'm not going to speak for Europe or Australia or Canada or Mexico or anywhere else, but I will say this: most people here are so comfortable and they think that nothing can ever happen to us, and part of it is somewhat of a pride. We're the best military on the planet. We have defenses. We have this. We have that. My opinion is that you never underestimate your enemy. So Sun Tzu's, and also that it's something that the same people will believe that we've been screwed over, infiltrated, and all of this, but then don't believe that during any of that's happened the last four presidents, that somebody may have let somebody in the back door or said, oh yeah, I'll cut that program off for a few years, or I'll reduce our forces or scrap our ships. Maybe that just maybe some of that was on purpose. I don't know. One country in particular, their specialty is infiltration. And that seems like what has happened, but again, that's just an opinion. And then a cyber attack suspected behind false siren alerts in Jerusalem. This is obviously if somebody's able to get into these systems and do these things, it's very terrifying when you think you're about to have a rocket go into your house. Security officials suspect that rocket sirens heard in Jerusalem on Sunday were the result of a cyber attack. The National Cyber Directorate, the INCD, suspects that hackers were behind the incident due to the fact that the sirens activated were civilian rather than part of the Homefront Command Network, according to a statement issued Monday by the IDF. And then, of course, local authorities have been instructed to take preventative measures against the threat, the statement said. The Cyber Directorate is examining whether these hackers were behind, and, of course, from the country of Iran to the store, alleged attack, according to unsourced reports in Hebrew language media. Jerusalem residents reported hearing the sirens in the city's Katamonim, Beit HaKerem, and Nev Yaakov neighborhoods. They said the alerts lasted for nearly an hour, so it wasn't just for a couple minutes. It just kept going and going and going. Think about that. You hear the air raid sirens for an hour long. You're thinking, what the hell is going on? I think back to Hawaii when that happened and all of the weird stuff that's actually happened since 2018. And I just wonder how many close calls have any of these places had. But of course, they just brush it under the rug or cover it up. And again, we never stop covering the Middle E. A lot of people have moved off. Nobody even covers the stories that are coming out of this. That continues to be a flashpoint for a possible WW3 scenario. My personal belief is that we will have a WW3 at some point, and that is what we personally prep for as not only doing the show, but being preppers. As far as what is going on in the left hand and in the right hand, all of a sudden in the middle hand, nobody's watching that third mutant arm from drinking the water. So we pay attention to it. A drone hits important military base in Tehran. If you notice, these events always happen. There's one event here, one event there. There's always a tit for tat there, and it's almost like a pattern. It's a pattern. Dex, have we covered something going on in one country without something being a response happening? They don't say, like, we'll do tough things if you do this. They just always have an event happening on both sides.
Yeah, there's always this tit for tat's been going on in the ME for a long time.
Thousands.
And I don't see it's going to end anytime soon either. If anything, it's going to keep ramping up.
That's why, a lot of people have stopped paying attention to what's going on over there. They don't even cover the stories, and that's one thing I don't understand, because this is still a flashpoint. It's still the Holy Lands that they're fighting over and fighting over cultural differences that go back thousands and thousands of years. So it says overnight Friday, a drone reportedly struck a ballistic missile site in western Tehran, causing a mysterious explosion. Oh, and by the way, mysterious explosions, those don't happen every week in all sorts of countries around the world, and they always surround some other weird event that happens in their enemy's country or amphibious carrier, or fireworks stand or Tianjin or Beirut or, Fun times. All right, over on D-Live, thank you, everybody that popped in. By the way, Carol White, and it looks like Carol White, thank you so much for the super thanks on Distract and Destroy, our last show. Again, super thanks are basically the super chat of replays. Thank you so much. Again, thank you for your support, and I hope you watched tonight. I appreciate it. And then Simply Pony, thank you as well. Dave Round, says thanks. Hey, appreciate it, Dave. Really, really do. By the way, hi to Dave Reed and Laura. I hope you guys are doing well tonight if you guys are in here. T. Palomino, thank you as well. Mysteries Mystery School says, next call in, I will watch, catch in, and call in. I always try to remember to like and share. Much love, fam. Hey, thank you. And then Bible Talk 777 over on Slow Motion Collapse said thanks. Hey, appreciate you, Bible Talk, and I appreciate you coming into the show and then doing a super thanks as well. That was awesome. And then Stephen McMahon, thank you, mods. You the goods. Is that all you said? You the goods. Thank you. Oh, no, you misspelled it. Tank 2 mods. You the goods. Stephen McMahon, I appreciate you. You are awesome. And then beautiful sanction and push Vlad into a corner when we know he has nukies. That actually works. Well, who knows if he's even in a corner. He's making just as much money before the sanctions on fuel. They have now built a bridge to Xi's country. Now they are directly trading and essentially going around us. And India and other countries are making it so it's possible. All of these other countries, the non-NATO countries, are all like, they're picking up slack where all of these sanctions were supposed to hit them the hardest. So they just they made deals with all sorts of people. Remember they met with the Cuban leader. They met with all these other leaders right as these sanctions were about to go down. We even gave them warning way before we actually put the sanctions in place. For 3 weeks, they were like, oh, get ready. Hey, we're going to sanction you. You better call some dudes. That's what they said. Some infiltrated jerk in the U.S. was like, hey, we're going to, call some dudes. And Vlad was like, I call dudes. I call a lot of dudes. Hello, Cuba dudes. It was reenactment. I'm not even paraphrasing what happened. All right. And then, geez Louise, Dex, we've got a crazy amount of overflow tonight and lots of stuff going on.
And prep too. We need to talk about prep, and I need to pull up the stuff that's going on the website. So yeah, lots happening. You want me to cover both?
Yes. Yeah, actually. I'll pull it up.
Okay, so if you haven't already and you don't know about getting prepared with food and long-term storage, long life storage food, head over to marfooglenews.com/prep. Great deals there, especially on a 3-month supply. They've got everything you need when it comes to survival gear, survival food, especially. Their food is fantastic. I've eaten it, shared it with my family. We all sat around and enjoyed it. It was really tasty. I couldn't believe how good it was. But check that out. Check out the water filtration. Everyone needs good, clean water. And if you don't have water filtration, then you're missing out when it comes to these gravity-fed filters that they have. They're really phenomenal, and they work really well. We have a couple of them here. We use them. But keep in mind, they also have smaller filters. So I know a lot of you guys like Life Straws or things like that. They have a version of that as well available. So they've got the Alexa Pure in not only in the large gravity fed, but they've got the kits that go in your backpack, and they got the small pitchers too. So go check it out. Just about anything you could think of you might need would be there. marfooglenews.com/prep. That's the best way to get a head start on your prep. If you need food, if you need water, you need air filtration, you need gadgets and gizmos, they're there. So definitely take a look. It helps us out. It helps you out. You save money. We get a small commission, and you get something great in return. So sort of a win-win. So next up, go to marfooglenews.com. Click on the thumbnail for the show. You will get to the show page that has everything we talked about, all the news we covered, the other news that I'm going to talk about in just a second. But also don't forget, as Adam just showed you, there is a giveaway. You don't want to miss out your chance to win this backpack. So please head over there. All you got to do is click through, sign up, and you can have a chance to win this $380 backpack. It's phenomenal. It's from Off Grid, has a pouch for your laptop, for your tablet, for your phone, for your key fob. Yeah, did you realize people can steal your key fobs digitally by cloning them when you're walking through a parking lot? All of that and more, and you can pack 2 days worth of gear in it and have a great compartment for your sunglasses. I mean, it's a phenomenal bag. This is not just your average ho-hum backpack. So go head over there, make sure you get your chance to win. I don't want people telling me, I didn't know where to go. Marfooglenews.com. Click on the thumbnail for the show. If you're on YouTube, open that description and click on the show notes link. It'll take you right here. It's so simple to get to this and everything else. In the overflow section, that's where the rest of the stories are. We couldn't cover everything we couldn't cover. There's a lot of updates going on here in the political space, on CV, things with Gillian covered there as well. So if you want more of the information, you want more of the stories and some of the things that we just can't get to, it's all there. So you can find out that. You can find out about crypto. You can find out some more stuff going on with the heat. And even something about a monkey, but this time it has nothing to do with what you think I'm talking about. So if you want to know what happened to a monkey, you can find out there, as well as what's going on with Zuckerberg and much more. Marfooglenews.com, the place to be. So click on it, go to the website, click on the thumbnail for the show, or open that link in the description on YouTube called Show Notes.
And again, a monkey in a bulletproof vest. Not an analogy. Go read the article. You'll see. In a cart. Okay. I'll just read. Monkey in a bulletproof vest in a cartel shootout. Okay. If that doesn't make you go to the website, then I don't know what would. All right. And then, of course, everybody that popped over and supported in DLive, I really do appreciate you. Thank you, everybody that has kept the community alive in DLive, the DLive, DLove, Kelly2334, Vault11. Hey, to all Foogle fam, Texas Rob for gifting out multiple badges. Thank you, Texas Rob, for staying over there and being a just joy to have over there. And then Johnson, Charlie64, Gem, if you aren't there tonight, I appreciate you. I believe I saw you, if I'm not correct. If I'm not correct, correct me there. If I'm not correct, correct me. And then, of course, Chance Paladin, Wonder Woman. I didn't see you there, but Chance, thank you. And all of the mods either have books that they have wrote or channels to go to. The mods, again, should be supported. They're doing something for the community. Again, if you haven't already, try to tell somebody next to you something awesome. Push somebody up today. If you do end up going down and helping not only people that are in Mesa or Phoenix, but if you're having a heat wave in your city and you want to go help out and bring water to them, do it. Let us know. Tweet me on Twitter at Marfoogle. Over on Twitter is usually where we have also notifications. That is where I put the notification when I go live. The exact second I click it, then I click go live. So make sure to go check that out. Dex, thank you so much for your service today. I appreciate you.
Much love. Great show, brother.
And then tomorrow will be calls, so make sure to tune in. We will see you tomorrow. It is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout-out. It's a shoutro. All right, let's do a new one for, it looks like we got a couple people to do them for. Irish Rebel, let's do it. If you don't know what's going on, ask a Foogle fam. Irish rebel. 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 Rebel.